Hello Versus fans, thank you for returning for another chapter, and if you're here for chapter 3 and you've already seen 1 and 2, then that means that you are addicted, you are hooked, but so am I. I gotta get more of this manga. We're gonna go ahead and get into the chapter. However, before we do, I would like to ask that after the video, if you like it, please hit the like button, and if you're returning for chapter 3, go ahead and go down here and hit the subscribe button, as that helps out my channel.
In our first panel, we get a look at some of the landscape and dismay from a few of the other worlds that have also connected to our hero's world. In one of our images, large tree roots seem to be scattered throughout the land. Another, we see almost what looks like an infection or fungus covering buildings, vehicles, and pretty much anything it comes into contact with. The third, we see human remains strung up on pikes and lines being eaten by crows. This particular image looks pretty gruesome and probably there to send a message. And our last image shows us futuristic structures, and in the sky, what looks to be UFOs hovering. Our heroes teleport out of the fort for humanity, and look upon the land they see in front of them. It is no longer the familiar land they once knew. This land our heroes describe as chaos without end in sight. Zabi and the others look confused. Zabi is sure they are at the same coordinates used previously for teleportation spells. And Captain Kayla states this land is not of her world either. They assume their prediction of multiple worlds joining are true. Zabi states they are here to look for remaining humans to escort them back to their home base. The rescue party moves forward, although they are sure new unknown dangers await.
So, one thing I'd like to say about them going out and trying to rescue people is it's very admirable to go out and rescue people who you do not know, and you're knowing that in going out and doing so, you're going to be risking your life and putting yourself in danger. So that's really cool of our heroes to do that, but that's why they're called heroes, right? And I also think it's really cool how since Zabi and Captain Kayla have made their alliance, they have really been sticking together. They've been helping each other out, they've been working as a team, and that's what an alliance should be. So I'm really liking that camaraderie that I'm seeing.
Later in that day, we see our rescue team running for their lives, and then we hear Zabi shout, "They're coming! Watch out!" Suddenly, these giant moles burst out of the earth to attempt to eat the heroes. Our heroes try to figure out what exactly they are being chased by, while continuing to flee. Pain assumes it's a creature from another world. Suddenly, the giant creatures sense even more threatening danger and decide to retreat back into the ground. Kayla and Pain, although relieved, wonder why the creatures decided to stop. The rescue team then hears a monstrous roar that seems to shake the surroundings. They then look in the direction of the deafening sound and see an enormous shadow figure that towers even the nearby skyscrapers. Hollow, Zabi, and Pain look at this enormous object with disbelief. Zabi states that it looks like a mountain is walking. He then asks reluctantly if this is a new world enemy as well. Hollow spots something. He alerts his big brother that he saw the figure of what he believed to be a person crossing to the other side of the building. Confident this could be a survivor, Zabi agrees they should go double check. The rescue team runs towards the spotted figure and they slowly peek around the corner of the building. Hollow sees what he truly believes was a person and shouts to gain their attention, but Pain warns Hollow to wait a second. The others murmur that the size of this person seems a little strange and that he should look smaller from this distance. The person senses the rescue team behind him. He turns his face and reveals himself devouring the body of an actual human. He spits out a leg and speaks as it begins to stand. He states, 6 new pieces of meat. The rescue team now realizes this person is a giant. The rescue team gaze upon this massive giant, and Captain Kayla shouts, "It's an enemy!" and orders her men to fire at the giant. The bullets bounce off of the giant's body. The rescue team realizes yet again the mechanical weapons are ineffective against this enemy. Kayla tells her men to switch to grenades, but Hollow shouts for them to wait as he sees a woman and 2 children at a distance behind the giant. Hollow states he has found survivors for certain this time. The giant raises his fist, and before delivering a smashing blow, he states Hollow is an interesting looking piece of meat. The giant then torpedoes his fist down on top of Hollow. Hollow attempts to block this impact with his forearm. The earth crumbles underneath him, and he feels something crack in his body. But somehow, Hollow is still alive and in one piece. Hollow pleads to his brother to take everyone and run while he keeps the giant occupied. Zabi casts a spell.
Alright, so one thing that I'm noticing about this giant is he's kind of got like a trophy belt of human skulls, which tells me that this giant is efficient at killing. You don't get that many skulls unless you're good at killing. Really interesting. Another thing that I find good for us but bad for our heroes is that the giant can speak, which means that he's not just some dumb brute that walks around smashing things with the billy club, right? He actually can problem solve and communicate, which just makes him more of a threat. Now, I'm hoping that there's even more giants. So this could not only be a problem for our heroes, but this could also be a problem for the robots and the demons who have already engaged each other. So that's pretty cool. Another thing I'd like to point out is that Captain Kayla and her men, they need to put those guns down, because this is 3 enemies now where they've used their guns and they've been ineffective. Put the guns down. Let's do something. Let's use something else, right?
The fog magic casts a smoke over the giant's head so that the heroes can make an escape. As the giant begins to freak out, Zabi grabs his younger brother Hollow and quickly scolds him not to try and sacrifice himself again. They will all return alive. The giant shouts at the humans, trying to regain his vision. He then starts to inhale deeply. The heroes finally get to the survivors and grab them to flee away from the giant. The giant then blows with a massive force after taking a deep breath to rid himself of the smoke. Zabi is amazed at how powerful the giant is. Kayla shouts to find a narrow runway to slow the giant down. The heroes flee down an alleyway as the giant spots them and states, "Now we are playing tag." Zabi asks Kayla if she will take the children so he can distract the giant. Kayla states it should be no problem, especially since she has her powered suit on for assistance. Zabi looks shocked. The rescue team sees that the road has disappeared. Sprouting up from the deep, they see these gigantic tree roots rising. Zabi states the tree roots appeared out of nowhere. Payne warns the team that the giant is gaining on them and will catch up soon if they don't move. Kayla fires a rope from her gun. It then clamps onto a building across the deep hole, and Kayla then secures the line. The heroes quickly slide down the rope to reach safety from the giant, closing in on them, but they all successfully reach the other end. They breathe a sigh of relief and state they are getting closer to the magic circle. Payne looks back to observe the giant. He's confident the giant is sad and has no possible way to reach the other side. He watches the giant crouch and then launch himself into the air. Payne, in disbelief, he says nothing as the giant falls closer to them. The giant then lands directly behind our heroes as they continue to move forward. Our heroes look back in disbelief as well. They cannot believe how resilient this giant is. His abilities are that of an elite demon, if not stronger. The giant states, "I guess the chase is finally over." Zabi frantically yells for everyone to run. As our heroes run from the giant, they did not realize they had ran back into the territory of the giant mole rats they had previously escaped from. The giant moles sprout from the ground, and instead of attacking the humans, the giant becomes their main target due to his large presence and strength, which makes the creatures feel most threatened. The animals attack the giant. The giant mole creatures tear flesh from the giant, but the giant grabs the moles and squeezes them with his tremendous strength. The giant also catapults the creatures to the ground. Suddenly, a huge hill of gravel begins to sprout from the ground. An even bigger mole creature hears the squeals of its underlings and comes to confront the threatening giant. Both massive enemies roar their fury to each other before engaging in battle. Hollow watches the enemies engage each other, realizing that this is the second time 2 enemies have gained each other's attention and battled each other instead of the humans. Zabi shouts to Hollow to keep running. The magic circle isn't far. Hollow runs but continues to watch the enemies rip each other apart. Finally, our rescue team has made it back to the magic circle and prepared to return to the base camp. Payne and Zabi can't believe the level of risk it took to save only 3 people. Zabi regretfully hears one of the survivors state that he has just spotted other survivors near the magic circle in need of help. The survivors are being chased by monstrous plants looking for their next meal. Hollow quickly runs towards the survivors to render aid. Zabi, Payne, and even Kayla run after Hollow to help save the people from the monsters. Hollow shouts to his brother, who has had it with Hollow's quick reflexes towards danger, that they came to rescue people in need, not to rest. Hollow grabs the survivors as Zabi and Kayla fend off the monstrous plant. Our heroes continue their missions to save survivors. Along the way, they continue to experience a bit of each new world's environments and enemies, coming close to death every deployment they take. As things appeared to be going so casually back at the fort for humanity, our heroes make another return through the magic circle, bringing another round of survivors in need of rescuing. Our heroes look stressed, beaten, and battered. Zabi checks to see if all are okay and still in one piece. Zabi asks his helpers to treat the wounds of the survivors and to give them food and a place to sleep. Captain Kayla cannot believe the new dangers they encounter during their rescue missions. They are beyond imagination. She states that everywhere outside the fort is impossible for any humans to survive. Zabi states he misses the days when they just had to worry about fighting the demons. Someone approaches Zabi and asks him to follow, as they have an urgent matter at the fort. Zabi pleads, "What is it now?" Zabi is brought to the king's chambers. It appears the king has fallen deathly ill. Zabi can't believe his king and majesty is in such condition. The medicine men who are caring for the king state it is not just the king who has fallen ill. Many other people in the base have also collapsed in the same manner. The people have been quarantined, but the doctors have no idea how to treat this new illness. Many are starting to think that these new symptoms are those of diseases from the other worlds that have just connected. One of Captain Kayla's men begin to say what's on Hollow's mind as well. Everywhere they turn, there is another enemy ready to kill them. They have even less of a chance of survival now. Hollow begins to think to himself, they have nowhere to run anymore. The fort is the final place of safety that they know of. All of these new enemies that have came from these new worlds are equally as strong as the demons. Yet, Hollow and the others have all made it back to the base alive after so many missions outside the fort walls. Hollow realizes something that can be a key to their survival. Zabi demands more information is needed regarding the new worlds. He orders everyone to be gathered, including the refugees that were just rescued. He insists they need to know everything about their worlds in order to try and combat these new threats. Zabi's mage warns Zabi that he needs rest, as he has just returned. But Zabi states matters are too pressing to rest now. All of mankind has gathered together at a great hall and begin to discuss what they can do to survive their destiny of destruction.
Alright guys, so that is the end of chapter 3. It was a really good one. I really liked our introduction to the giant. He was really cool, a lot of cool attributes, and I really wonder what kind of problem he and maybe other giants are going to pose to not only our heroes, but the demons and the robots in the future. We saw some other enemies as well. We saw the monster plants. We also saw the giant mole rats, which were really dangerous for the giant. We're getting to see a little bit more of Hollow's strength come to the front again. This massive giant tries to throw this slam on Hollow, and a normal person would probably fold or get crushed underneath this, but Hollow, his powers, his strength is starting to come to the front, so we're starting to see slowly the progression of him becoming like the strongest hero, and I really like that aspect. It kind of reminds me of Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia. They don't show him just all powerful out of nowhere. They kind of show his progression of how he gets stronger and stronger. So I really like that. So we got a chance to see a few new enemies, and our heroes, they've called a meeting. Zabi's like, we need to come together. We all need to discuss exactly who our enemies are, their strengths and weaknesses, and we need to start coming up with a game plan to survive, because when we went out there, it was chaos, and there's no way we're going to survive this unless we come up with a plan. So I'm really excited to see, of course, what's going to happen in the next chapter. Hopefully we get some specifics. We get to know some of the other humans and their worlds and what they have to deal with. It's really exciting. So again, if you guys like this video, hit the like button. If you have returned and you want to return for chapter 4, please hit the subscribe button. And otherwise, I will see you guys later. Bye.